Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Full Quarter Podcast. My name is Mpho. I've got Tim DeLace here with me. Tim, how are you doing?
All good, man. All good. I'm glad to be back. I enjoyed the little break that we had. It was good to switch off the laptop for a couple of weeks, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back and good to be talking cricket news. It's the IPL happening right now, but we've got our women's team, the Proteas Women, in a tri-series matchup in Sri Lanka against Sri Lanka and India. They haven't been doing well. We'll be talking about that. There's also emerging breaking news around Kagiso Rabada that we're going to be talking about, starting off the show with, and then we're going to be talking about the squads. Since last we spoke, we've had an announcement of the SA A squad, the SA Women's Emerging Squad, as well as the SA Men's Emerging Squad that'll be going to, the Emerging Squads are going to Bangladesh, and the SA squad's going to the West Indies. But before we do everything, remember, we're your we're your number one South African cricket podcast. We talk all things South African cricket to give you our opinions on everything, and we're going to give you our opinion on the issues that have happened in the past couple of weeks in South African cricket. The most important one is the Kagiso run, but most important, please follow us on X at Full Quarter Pod. Please subscribe to the Full Quarter Podcast on YouTube. It lets you know when we go live. Also, please on the Full Quarter Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for our audio listeners. And if you want to buy some coffee, if you want to support us and our endeavors going forward, we're planning a lot more content going into the World Test Championship and around there. Please do support us. We do player interviews. We cover the domestic scene. It is the off season right now, so we're going to do a who's moved where episode. To make sure that you guys are intact, and all of these things happen with or it doesn't happen for the love of cricket alone. If we did things for the love of cricket, it would be great. But we live in a world that requires money, and any monetary support will be appreciated. And you can go to everything's at the bottom, but I'm just going to pull up the Buy Me a Coffee banner at buymeacoffee.com/full quota pod. Okay, we're in the off season domestically, right? Players are moving in and out, and then last month, in like the first week of April, we found out that Kagiso's left the IPL, left India, and has come back home for personal reasons. What I assumed was, oh no, something's probably happened in the family. There's probably something has to come home, a birthday, a wedding, or even a funeral or something like that, right? But then he's been absent. After about a couple of weeks, I was like, he's been here for a while. And he hasn't gone back to India. And then about last week, we heard that he was back in India, but then the question was, we haven't seen him play. And so, yeah, but I wasn't worried. I was like, okay, look, it's a little weird, but if Kagiso gets all the rest he needs, then he gets all the rest he needs, because we need him fresh for the World Test Championship, because quite frankly, nothing matters right now in South African men's cricket outside of that game on the 11th of June. And yeah, so if Kagiso's getting rest, he's getting a few reps, he's training, he's keeping fit, that's cool. But then Saturday, in the middle of one of the biggest soccer games in South Africa, we all get a message from CSA saying Kagiso's been provisionally suspended for doping, recreational use. And so, Tim, a couple of the things that I was in there going was like, the first thing was, wait, hold up. Was this the reason why he was here? That kind of came through in the statement that's what happened. Recreational use, when was he found and why is he being banned now? The other thing that I was trying to figure out, because nobody, guys, just sometimes release a press statement with everything. Don't keep us in the lurch. When was he suspended? When was he found? Those are facts. It's nothing personal, right? If he was found on whatever date, if the date of the test was the 11th of Jan, it's the 11th of Jan. You can't fight it, right? But like now we're scrounging around trying to figure out when was he? Is he still going to be available? How long the ban is for? But we know he's in India, so if he's in India, there's maybe a chance that he's playing. So therefore, the ban might be taken off. But the ban is provisional. The other question about the provisionality of it is that is there another ban coming? So because when you say provisional, it means that there's something else coming on the other side. On top of that, I'm in my head on some, there goes the World Test Championship. We're done. We don't win without Kagiso. We do not win without Kagiso. Might as well not even play if Kagiso is not there, because he's that much of a generational talent. Also, obviously, the thing is, this press statement that came out on Saturday was his apology, and I accepted his apology. He's a young man. He's learning. We're going to get to the responsibility part of it, because I think there's a little bit more that I need to talk about there. But Tim, what were your initial thoughts when you heard this?
My initial thoughts were, as you quite rightly point out, that's the World Test Championship gone. Whatever he's going to get, it surely has to include the World Test Championship, because it is so close to in terms of the diary. I could not see a suspension that didn't include the World Test Championship. So I was thinking, that's it. That's that over. It's great to go to the final. And it's similar to you. Cricket South Africa has a history of this. Cricket South Africa has a history of giving us a press release, which is not a press release. It's giving us half the story. It's giving us.
They didn't even give us a story. They were just like, no, he's been provisionally suspended, and here's his apology, and we support him. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but what happened? Where was he? What was he doing?
Exactly. The fact that the media and the fans were in the dark, it just shows where Cricket South Africa are. Cricket South Africa has a real communication problem, and it has had, to be fair, for years. For years, it's had this problem. It's almost like it's hiding something. I'm not saying that it is, but that's the impression it gives. The impression that, hang on, we can't tell the whole story, because otherwise a whole can of worms, and it's going to be much worse.
And to a certain extent, they've had a month to manage this. They knew about this in April, probably even before. They've had a month to manage the communication around this, right? And yes, there's a privacy element, right? For instance, everyone's trying to find out what recreational drug he was using, right? And that doesn't matter. That's personal information. When he was tested, when he was found out, needs to be put in there. Was there a B sample, right? Can we fight this? But it looks like, so there's a story that came out today on ESPN Cricket Info by Fidoz, and it kind of gives a little bit more detail, because South African Institute of Drug Sport then gave us the detail we were looking for, right? And so I'm just going to quote that, and Fidoz, don't kill me for this, but I'm just quoting your words. It's on ESPN Cricket Info. In that, I'm just trying to find the things, right? So he was tested in January 21. So this was during SA20 after MI Cape Town and Durban Super Giants. They notified him on the 1st of April. On the 3rd of April, he then came back to South Africa. So to a certain extent, there's no news of a second test here. And then the thing they will speak of is the recreational use, right? That he participated in an education awareness program to further prevent substance abuse, and therefore he's able to resume playing as soon as tomorrow, Tuesday, for Gujarat Titans when they play the Mumbai Indians. Now, here's the question, right? And this is the other thing that I was asked this morning on ETV, was other sports, even if it's for the drugs that are listed there, right? The recreational juice drugs, which is cocaine, cannabis, methamphetamines, diamorphine, I don't even know what that is, because they're not performance-enhancing drugs. It doesn't take a harsher sentence, right? And so she cites Doug Bracewell in there. There's 2 Zimbabwean players who also were found guilty. They got a 4-month ban, and they kept that. But the precedent was Doug Bracewell got 3 months, and it got reduced because you went through this program. So essentially what it was April 1, they tell Kagiso and CSA that, hey, you've created an issue. CSA realizes, like the rest of us, oh snap, 3 months is July. so he could miss WTC. CSA tells him to come back home. They do this program, and it ends up going down from 3 months to 1 month, and he sits away, which is beautiful, which is fine. And they think the story's over. This is my issue, Tim. Here's the first part, right? CSA thinks the story's over. Best believe in the next month, the Australians are going to hop on this the entire time. Tim Payne quoted on SEN today. Thanks, Fidoz. This is a beautiful article. I think everyone should read it. He was like, it's not personal issues, this what Kagiso is going through. It falls under a broken contract. And so I'm sitting there going, we're going to get this not the end. This isn't the end, but currently right now, Kagiso's suspension will be lifted tomorrow, and he'll be able to play tomorrow. And yeah, Tim, what do you think?
I agree with all that. Again, why wasn't that? Why weren't we notified of that sooner? So you want somebody to be aware of the dangers of drugs. That thing that he went on, that educational thing, why wasn't that publicized? Why wasn't that publicized? To show that, you know what, I made a mistake. The only thing that I like about this whole situation is Rabada's apology. And you can only glean so much from social media, but to me it seems genuine. He accepts he was at fault, and he accepts that what he did was wrong. There was no going around the issue. There was no sort of saying, well, this happened and that happened. He accepted he was at fault. Yeah. I get all that, as you say, because he came back, because he went to this this thing, that then the sentence gets reduced. I do have a problem with this. And I'm probably going to get hate for it.
Can you hold on your problems for a moment? Someone's at my door. We're going to pause for a moment. Okay, sure. We're back and got my delivery. Now, Tim, what don't you like about the press release and all the other drama that happened that wasn't great outside of the apology?
Yeah. My problem is, what signal does this send to other players? To me, I think a harsher sentence should come in. So you mentioned the Zimbabwean thing. Zimbabwean got a similar sentence as Rabada, but Zimbabwe Cricket made an example of both those players. They said, no, that's fine. You'll have your I think it was a month. I think it was a similar time. Yeah. And they added on another couple of months. Their own batch.
They made it 4 months. So even if they went on that awareness, it was still 4 months. New Zealand went the other way with Doug Bracewell. They just said it's 1 month. I think the issue I have here, Tim, is we're along your lines, right? It's a precedent it sets, right? If we didn't have the World Test Championship, was he going to be suspended for 3 months? What's CSA's stance on recreational drug use? Because from what I know, from some of the corridors and the walls inside, the CSA building here in Melrose, is they're not happy with some of the substance abuse problems that some of the Proteas men and women are going through. They, Enoch Nkwe is famously known for leaving the assistant job, the Proteas assistant job, due to the team culture. And one of the issues of the team culture was that they were drinking heavily, and it wasn't a healthy culture, right? And I know that he's wanted to clean it up, right? This is your first chance to make an example, to change the culture. And all you're doing is you're hiding him. You're not announcing it in April when it happened. You are then giving us press releases that tell us nothing about your stance on the problem, but in support of the player, which is fine. And your press strategy is don't give too many facts and let the South African Institute of Drug Sport do it. It's kind of like saying taking away the responsibility from CSA to manage their players in a doping sense, that way, right? And so that for me kind of, I didn't sit well with me. And it also, like, literally, current guys, I know the only thing that matters is the World Test Championship. I'm happy that it's 1 month, and I too would be conflicted, and I am conflicted right now, because if you want to have a hard line, he actually shouldn't be playing.
Shouldn't be playing, yeah. And look, he's a senior player. We're not talking about a 19-year-old playing his first year of international cricket where there could be mitigating circumstances being made. We're talking about a person who is a senior member of the team. He knows full well that you can't take this substance, whatever he took, as an international cricketer. You can't do that. He does not accept a good example. He knows that. He knows that when he's taking it, I'm doing something bad, yeah. This is not cool. Whether it's out of competition or in a competition, in my mind, when you're in that space, is irrelevant. You get a lot of luxuries in that life. There are lots of prices to pay, but you absolutely know that this is a no-no. It's not something that he should be even entertaining.
Okay.
So I would be much harder. I really would. And that is exactly what you said. What sample does it send to the rest of the players that are coming through the system, young players in that SA emerging when they eventually become Proteas, because they're going to go, but Rabada got 1 month. Why are you giving me 6?
Send me to whatever program that is and give me 1 month.
Yeah.
Look, and even the 2 months, 2 months would have been fine, right? Look, the timing is awful, for this, because Kagiso's played Champions Trophy, he's won the SA20, but obviously it's not performance enhancing, right? So that's the only mitigation to all of this, because many people have taken things unknowingly that are performance enhancing and have gotten harsher bans, and they will be like, but I took things unknowingly. He was out there knowingly taking this stuff, knowing it's not good for him as a sportsman, and he only gets 1 month. So I think the lightness of the sentence is my issue. I think, honestly, to Kagiso, look, dude, you're a senior player on the side. Your actions have detrimental effect on the team. And yes, we're all individuals, and I hope that you seek the help that you need. But I also hope that you learn from this. But we can't go without not saying that your behavior was not good, and it put potentially this country's greatest moment in cricket in jeopardy. I'm not saying we're going to win or lose, but we're in the spotlight. And to a certain extent, you've also now put the team into this doping melee all the way up until this doping storm, all the way up until the World Test Championship final ends, because it's going to be Kagiso and doping. It's going to be Kagiso and doping. When Kagiso takes 5, it's going to be Kagiso and doping. When Kagiso, should he be there? Should he not be there? The Australians are going to say no. The Australians are going to tell you their policy. And probably their policy is 3 months, 4 months out, right? And so, and they're going to think, in terms of the spirit of the game, he shouldn't be playing. Because what Tim Payne was saying is it's in the tournament. We're still in the World Test Championship window. You should be suspended for a game. And then the Australians might even be asking the ICC what their view on doping is, right? Because it's WADA, which is the World Anti-Doping Association, and that comes down through the ICC and through the member bodies. So it's just added unnecessary coverage over and above the cricket. If we win the World Test Championship, the Australians are going to be crying about this till the cows come home. You're going to be heckled. And what is it? I've forgotten that word. What do cricketers do behind the stumps when they start talking? It's not heckling.
Verbal abuse.
Not verbal abuse. What's that word we use in cricket? Hey, you know what? It's fine. We'll find it. It'll come to us. But yeah, And you don't want to give Australia anything. We know our history against Australia. We've been fighting with Australians inside staircases and in PE. When people are coming out in towels and everything else, right? We've had Sandpapergate. We've had all of these things, and you gave them a chance. And to a certain extent, yeah. But look, I think this is a symptom of a bigger issue in the national teams, and I say teams. And I do think it is time that we kind of talk about drug abuse, alcohol, and recreational drug abuse, and try and nip it in the bud. I think we need to get to national teams where it's no longer a big thing. It's been a big thing before, and that culture hasn't changed over the last 20, 25 years. And now it's coming through here where one of the greatest ever fast bowlers we've produced now has this scandal. And yeah, we know Shane Warne's had it, and Warne's had his issues, right? And so my worry is the way Kagiso is. I do hope he's not feeling lonely. I do hope he is supported in India. I do hope he got the help that he needed. And I do hope that he comes back stronger. And he said in his apology that this doesn't define him. Definitely does not. It definitely does not. But I wanted to fuel him to get us to that World Test Championship victory. He's let us down as a nation. And I hope that this disappointment fuels him into taking 10 wickets at Lords, because that's what I want, Tim. 10 wickets at Lords. And whatever he was smoking, may that be the start of the next phase of Kagiso reclaiming his status as the world's best bowler. We've been told Cummins, we've been told so many people, we've been told Bumrah. Kagiso needs to step up now. It's high time. It's high time. And I hope this is the switch that brings him in. And for everyone else in the team, guys, champions don't have scandals like this. They don't. And when the Australian team was having scandals like this, they weren't winning. Outside of the Shane Warne years, Shane Warne was just special. But even then, but like Sandpapergate and all this other stuff, fighting in stairwells, it's the type of behavior of underdogs who don't know how to behave themselves in a room. As a champion, you come and buttoned up. You make sure that you do not put your brothers, your teammates, your team, the badge of the Proteas at risk. Protect the badge. The NFL is one thing. Protect the badge. In the NFL, you'd have been banned for 3 games for recreational drug use, because you bring a stain on the brand and the logo. You've brought a stain to the brand of the Proteas, and that stain's not going to go away until probably June 15. So we've got a month of all of this, of doping and Kagiso and all of this, and you better be ready. You better take the chin, take it up front, and on top of that, go get 10 wickets, because you put us in a massive bind. But at least we know you'll be there. That's all we hope. And good luck for your game tomorrow, because that's also going to be another thing. The Indian fans are going to be quite tough, and the Indian media is going to be quite tough on you. So if you can handle the Indian media, you can handle the Australian media when we get to London. Okay, Tim. Look, enough about Kagiso. Now let's move to another team Anyway, I've got a slide for this. I created a slide. So our Proteas women's team is playing in a tri-series in Sri Lanka. And they're playing against Sri Lanka as well as India, an Indian team that is a mix of youth and senior players, and a Sri Lankan team that's actually looking to build on some of the successes that they've had in the ODIs in a while. They won a game in England last year, and they're trying to build. And so a scalp against India and South Africa was going to be great. And they did that. They beat India yesterday, and then they beat South Africa a couple of days ago. But from a South African context, we're left with more questions than answers. I'm just going to go through the results of the games. They're on YouTube. They're not on TV. So I've been you go to Sri Lanka cricket on YouTube, you can get the games, and there's a game on Wednesday. We play India on Wednesday. But so we played India first last week. And we managed to restrict India to 276 for 6 after 50 overs. Pratika Rawal going 78 of 94. Harmanpreet Kaur 41 of 48. Mlaba with 2 for 55 as the best of our bowlers. Tasman Brits scoring a century in immense heat. She had to retire hurt, then come back because there was a bit of a collapse there. Low Wolford 43 of 75 and Snare Rana 5 for 53. South Africa in this game were 140 without loss. And we lost 10 wickets for 121 runs in this game. Now, move over to the next game. Sri Lanka. 237 for 5, beating South Africa 235 for 9 by 5 wickets with 21 balls remaining. The 21 balls is really, really important because South Africa could only set 235. The partnership of Brits and Wolford at the top was broken. South Africa were 40 for 2. Laura Goodall came in with a lovely 46. Annery Dirksen with a 61 not out of 60. The Sri Lankan bowlers Malika Madara, who's a right arm medium, 4 for 50, and Demi Vihanga, who's a spinner, 3 for 41. Hashita Samarakrama, 77 for 93. Kavisha Dehari, 61 for 75. Nunkula Gamlaba, again, 2 for 44. Two contrasting games, and I'll get to both games. But the first one for me, Tim, was how do you lose it with 120 required? With 130 needed. And you lose 10 wickets for 120. And you're literally sitting at 28 overs in the game. It wasn't like you had 35 overs, so you still had time to score. You had the balls, and in women's cricket, the trick to ODI cricket, and people are fighting me for this, but this is how I see women's cricket, is that you can only, especially when you're chasing, if your run rate gets above 6 runs and over, you're not going to win in the latter stages. If it gets past 6 runs and over with 15 overs to go, you will not win. Unless if you have wickets in hand. But even then, it's still very tough. If it gets to 7, I don't think you're going to get there. And South Africa, with 15 to go, we needed 90. We needed 100 of 90. And that was the first sign of the thing. But wickets are falling apart. And I was sitting there going, you know what? I don't know. But it was when India brought their spinners on. And it just it slowed down the Wolford and Brits partnership, and that slow momentum just kept on going. On the other side, you've got Tasman. She's cramping. She's trying to get to 100, so she's playing conservatively, and it just wasn't working. And a couple of things that I'm not happy with. Karabo Miso should be playing. Don't come with me with Sinalo Jafta stuff. That's her job. Karabo Miso is our wicketkeeper for the future. That's her job. She must stay there. But she cannot bat at 4 as a 17-year-old child. You've got 29 and 30-year-old players, batters, coming in after Karabo at 4. What? No, Mandla. No. You can't do that. That for me is a massive. Yes, I get the idea of playing her in the position that she knows. She's excelled in that position for the Lions. Yes, but there's a step up from domestic to international. Sunelis, Henry Dirksen must take responsibility, and they need to be batting at 4 and 5. Heck, even Nadine de Klerk needs to be batting at 6. That's my only, I'm so frustrated. Why are you hiding them, but allowing Karabo to have the worst experience in her debut ODI matches at international level because everyone else doesn't want to take responsibility? We will talk. Laura Goodall is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. One day she's good, one day she's bad, but on a bad day she's awful, and on a good day she's okay. And in the Sri Lanka game, she was okay. And to a certain extent, that's the reason why we got to 235. And the India game, when I saw them getting 276, I sat there going, we're going to get to 250. It's going to look pretty. It's going to look okay, but we're not going to get to 276. And then that 140-run partnership happened. I was like, okay, we could do this. But then when Laura went out, I was like, ooh, we've just opened up another can of worms. And it's sad because the only way I think this team can win is if Laura and Tasman finish the job themselves, i.e. we don't lose a wicket the entire 50 overs.
Yeah, I agree. Like I'm going to make a bold statement, and I want to be proven wrong. I really do want to be proven wrong. Let's put it out there. I don't think this Mandela is going to work in this role. I don't think he's going to take the women's game forward as he should. I'm going to put it out there. Like if it works out, fantastic. That is my personal opinion. I said when you got the job, I said the two roles are very, very different from men's to women's. You need to have somebody in that role who understands the women's game. Okay, that aside, Chloe Tyrone averages 26 the last 2 years. New Lewis averages 22. Laura Goodall, who was brought in as a replacement at the last minute, averages 14.
Yeah.
That there is your problem. You, as you quite rightly point out, you cannot say to Karabo on your first international tour on Asian wickets, I'm going to put you at 4. You cannot do that.
Look, Tim, if she was 25, yes, I'd be like, yeah, start. You've played a couple of years of domestic cricket. It's her first season of playing professional domestic cricket, and now you're throwing her in at 4?
Madness. Absolute madness.
So here's the other one, right? Who's the best batter in domestic women's cricket in 50 overs in the Hollywood Bets Pro 50? You can go look at this on ESPN Cricket Info. If you want to fight me, go there. Who is Alex Candler? Where is Alex Candler?
Yeah.
Where is she?
And closely followed by her is Faye Tunnicliffe. Both of them are emerging.
Yes.
They're both.
They're actually in Bangladesh. They're going to Bangladesh today. Can we get them in? I don't know. The other problem on a bowling front, we knew we'd struggle. I think we spoke about this when the squad came out. We spoke about the squad. We knew we'd struggle without Marizan. We really do not have a strike bowler, a fast bowling strike bowler. You need someone who can reach 125 clicks and cause problems. Shubnam leaving left us a massive gap, and we do not have that. And you're dealing with, and this, the nature of this team, and this is maybe where Mandla, I'm kind of like in kind of sympathy for him. The players he has, this is kind of where we're gonna get up. A South Africa team that has bid part all-rounders, girls who can bat and bowl right arm medium, nothing that's gonna scare you. And you're just hoping that they're accurate. It's just a team of just all-rounders, and those all-rounders are not they're particularly good at one thing, which is batting, but at international level, you're okay. You're an okay and a better than you're an average batter, and you're below an average bowler. And we're just doling out that, and it's not causing India any issues. It's not causing Sri Lanka any issues. We have no way of ripping through them. Marizan Cup, and we spoke about this rightfully, Tim. She's the MVP of the side, and we're 6 months away from the World Cup, 50 over World Cup. I think we should just roll out the youngsters. Give everyone and anyone a chance. Give Alex Candler a chance. Fine. If you want Karabo to bat it for, fine. Let her bat it for. But then the people who are coming in after her aren't Sune Lees, aren't Anri Dirksen. It's probably Faye Tunnicliffe and Alex Candler. Give people a chance. Because what we're seeing and what we're failing to see from Mandla is what's the identity that he wants his team to move forward in. They're gonna come and say, no, they've given Karabo an opportunity, and maybe Miyane. Play Miyane. I haven't seen her in a while. Play her. Because clearly, when we look around, nothing's gonna happen. Ayabonga Kaka has regressed badly. Masabata class was always quick, but she was never at that quality that we needed. But at the end of the day, she's the best that we have, and we're going to do that. I'm assuming Ayanda Khlubi's injured, so she's not there. But no one scares anything. And the person who's taking wickets is Nonkuleko Mlaba. And she is, at this point in time, outside of Laura and Tasman, the next best player in this team. If not the best player in this team at this point in time. Right? Great 100 from Tasman, showed a lot of resilience. but the rest of the other senior players let her down. And if that's not cause for you to make a bold decision now as coach, Mandla, then I don't know what is. If you go to the World Cup with this 15, we're coming home in the group stages. We're not going to semifinals because 235 is not good enough anymore. Sri Lanka won with 21 balls to spare. In 2021, just after COVID, just before the Omicron virus, Sri Lanka were fighting for their lives to qualify for a World Cup. And they're continually fighting for their lives to stay in the top tier of women's cricket. Yet you, as South Africa, with all the resources in the world, sponsorship from a domestic cricket, TV opportunities for our girls, all the sponsorship, all this money that's being thrown into this, we are struggling to beat a Sri Lanka in a World Cup year. And don't come with me with trial by spin. This team has been taught how to play spin for the last 10, 15 years. Every time we go to India, there's some coach who's going to sit there and teach them how to sweep. And it happens in the men's team as well. Teach them how to sweep. Play forward, play back, play late, play early. Can't be hesitant. Make a decision, do it. Either you're moving forward or you're moving. We've gone through this. Right? We've gone through all of this. But fundamentally, this team is not performing, and it's no longer culture. It's no longer the coach. You let Hilton go. Hilton's out there struggling against Zimbabwe. You let him go. You then brought Dylan in. Maybe you guys want Dylan back. I don't know. Tell us. But now it's on the players. And at this point in time, our players are not good enough. But then here's the problem. We have a domestic system that wants you to reward players. What happens? We don't pick the best batter there. And then someone's going to tell me, no, you must go through the phases. You must go through the emerging side. And from the emerging side, you must come out into the Proteas side. How's that working for us? How's that working for us? We're losing at the top, but you don't want to bring a girl in and put her in there. So clearly, it's the players. Clearly, it's a team. And there's clicks. And we thought Mandla was going to clear it out. He was going to new broom sweeps clean. But fundamentally, it looks like all those players that are playing for the Titans and affiliated to players who are playing for the Titans, they are just getting the nice little thing. Because under no circumstances, I understand people will say that there's a player in Sune Lees. Under no circumstances should Sune Lees be playing for the Proteas right now. Nor should Chloe Tryon, based on form. You cannot tell me. And I understand Sune also scored a bucket loads of runs in the Pro 50 she has. But maybe that's who she is. We've had this argument with Aiden the entire time. We believe Aiden's a domestic bully. Laura Goodall, Sune Lees, domestic bullies. Henry Dirksen, domestic bullies. They'll put down numbers. But when you step up into the Proteas and when we need them the most, they can't even string together a 50-run partnership. That for me is the crux of this issue. You win the India game if you have a 50-run partnership between Sune Lees and Henry Dirksen. What happened? They both got out in quick succession. And they both know how to play spin. But that's my rant. I'm done. I'm done with this team. They're going, it's fine. Like, there's nothing I can do. We're just going to be embarrassed at the World Cup and we're going to just roll out the same thing. And then next year's T20 World Cup in the UK, same 15. Don't, color me surprised. The only person who'll be there is Karabo, and she deserves it because she's definitely better than Sinalo. And so here's the thing, right? Glove work aside, yes, they may be equal between Sinalo and Karabo, right, Tim? But the issue for me is that even batting at 8, Karabo gives you more runs there than Sinalo would. The potential is there, the ability is there, and that's my thing. She's 17 years old. Quinton started batting at 6, and he worked his way up. Why can't the kid work her way up?
Yeah.
Why are senior players not wanting to bat at 4? Sune Lees, you had a great domestic season. Why not go in there with the form and start batting at 4? Henry Dirksen, Show us, as the ICC Emerging Player of the Year, who you are. At 5. Chloe, fine, bad at 6. Nadine, Marzan's not here. Can you step up? So yeah, look, like Tim, obviously Marzan comes in, she'll bat at 4. Garabo will probably move down the order. But right now I'm looking at this team and I'm like, the only thing that's exciting is the fact that I get to watch Garabo miss a play. And she's awesome.
And you're right to be that downcast. That is how we are. We said before the series, what is the side without Tasman and Laura? And if they're playing, we can see. Not up to much. It's really not up to much. And that's a huge problem for Mandla. He's got a lot of work to do. Let's leave it at that, I think.
Yeah. We've come from an under-19 World Cup. I'd have loved to see the under-19s in there. Jenna Evans, give them a chance. She did well with the ball and the bat, right? And Tabi saying Nini from Northwest, give her an opportunity, right? She may not be fast enough, but she's something to throw at the wall. Let's have a look. And to a certain extent, and then we're moving to the next one, that's what the SA Emerging series is all about. And so the SA Emerging women are going to Bangladesh to, get to know the system and everything else. And so there's a squad of players that is going there. They're going to play 3 ODIs and 3 T20s in Chattogram against Bangladesh Emerging. And this is the what is it? The squad for the 50 over the T20. Leah Jones, the Western Province wicketkeepers, captaining the T20s. Khomotso Rapo will be captain the 50 over side from the Lions. Alex Candler, who shouldn't be here, she should be with the Proteas, is there. Nicole de Klerk from the Dolphins. Jenna Evans from the SA Under-19, she's now in the squad. Gandhi Jafta is an interesting one because I don't think she should be here, but yeah, she's here anyway, from the Titans. Zintle Gula from the Knights. Elise Marie Marks. Mona Lisa Lachodi. Simone Lawrence is going to be interesting to watch because she's the next best one knocking on the door. She is so good. And she's very young. Remember her from the SA Under-19 tournament last year, 2 years, the previous tournament that we were in South Africa. She's really good. So good to see her in there. Leanda Nzuza comes from SA Under-19. She's a knight. She's a spinner. An all-rounder, actually. She can bat too. Veronisa Reddy from the Knights, another wicket-keeping option there, but also top-order batter. Nonkululeko Tabet is also top-order batter. She's a former Protea. She used to play over 10 years ago. A little bit slow from a strike rate perspective, but yeah, look, you will struggle to get her out. Dalmi Tucker, given an opportunity again. She used to be part of this Protea setup, now is not there anymore and looking to find a way back. And Faye Tanaklifu should be given an opportunity. She and Alex Candler should be in the side. I think it's quite a strong squad. I would have loved to see Tabiseng Nini in there. Alongside Mona Lisa Lachodi as the 2 fast bowlers. I think at the Under-19 World Cup, we saw who the better bowler was, and that was Tabiseng. There's also the question of Lions fast bowler with the glasses. What's her name? We were talking about her the other day.
Faye Cowling.
Faye Cowling should be here. And to a certain extent, I think it's a mixture of youth and experience. Gandhi Jafta has been around for a while. So has Nonkululeko Tabete at the top, so she's probably going to play some sort of like an anchoring role, which I disagree with. Her strike rate's been an issue this season, and that's my issue. And Gandhi Jafta hasn't scored a lot of runs, and I think she hasn't had a season to be proud of for the Titans ladies. So that's SA Under-19, SA Emerging. Denisha's coaching that side, so good luck to Denisha, and the team, and all the best and make it. I may disagree with you, but you represent South Africa, so let's. I'm fully behind you. If the moment you step over the line, we are all fully green and gold, regardless of what goes on. And so, yeah. And then the great thing is that yes.
I'm just going to touch on the squad quick, just very briefly. I mostly agree with the squad, but what I don't understand is the pre-Proteas players, the players that have played for Proteas already. To me, that signals that the wider talent pool isn't wide enough. I don't really understand Elria Marks in that squad. That doesn't make sense to me.
Look, I think Ellis Murray. We need to define. We don't have an SAA at women's level. We've got our SA emerging, and so this is our SAA. So it's for me, it's the next best players, and that's why it looks like this. I think SA emerging should be a team that has a lot of the under 19 girls that played in there, and then SAA, and we're going to talk about the men have SAA and SA emerging, and you can see the clear difference, right? But for now, SA emerging is technically SAA, and this is the gateway to Proteas Women, supposedly, because we live in a world where there are gates that you have to go through, and we can't pull up people who are deserving. Candler and Tunnicliffe are deserving. You should pull them up. To a certain extent, maybe even a Simone Lawrence. Maybe she might light a fire up under that middle order's asses, because quite frankly, that's what they need. And yeah, look, quite frankly, right now, if Mia Naismith does not play in the next game, I don't know what's going on. And also, Seshni Naidu needs to play as well, because we can't take wickets. So drop an all-rounder and put in another bowler, because at this rate, the rate we were going, we're still going to get 235 regardless. So that's who we are, right? At least let's try put them under pressure from a batting perspective. Okay, and then now moving on to the men's side. The men have an SA emerging tour back to Bangladesh as well. It's an interesting one. Malibonga Maketa is the coach of that one. We've got, it's a mixture of some really, really lovely players. George van Heerden, top run scorer and probably MVP of Division 2, captaining the side from the Gardenry Badgers. Connor Esterhazen, Lions wicketkeeper, and also playing for the MI Cape Town side. He got a couple of games in SA20. Very high promising youngster. So too Mohamed Manak, normally reserve open a top order batter for the Lions, but he's been given an opportunity here, and I know he's leaving the Lions in next season as well. Dion Forrester, probably the emerging player of domestic season Division 1. He's gotten an opportunity there to go to Bangladesh. Devon Murray, very good in the T20s. SA under 19 last year, came up and shone really, really well. Plays for the Eastern Storm, even though the Storm had a horrible season. Andile Mokhakane didn't have the best of seasons, but I'm thinking he's hoping that this is the start of him, regaining back his words in our lexicon of young Black African players who can play. Ngobane Mukwena, fast bowler as well, for the Dolphins, also an under 19 player. Tsepo Ndwandwa, spinner for the Titans. Sepan Tuli, Northern Cape Heat spinner as well. Ramashan Pillay from the Dolphins, he's an SA under 19 from last year. He's also played a few games for the Dolphins this year, so really, really good to see. And you get the emerging feel. They are literally emerging onto the scene. Ndule and Ndwanda have been there for a while, but it's still emerging. Mikael Prince, so much can be said about this kid. Oh, man. Oh, wow. I'm truly excited. Andilise Melani as well. He's had a few limited overs games for the Proteas, but he's here, which is interesting. But it adds strength, and these are his age mates, so it's going to be interesting for him to fit into here. And then another one, Richard Silitswane. So much upside. This kid's ceiling is so high as a batter. Hopefully he can do it for the Lions, but this is a nice tour for him. And Tian van Vuren, fast bowler from the Knights, and Dando Nkosi Zuma as well, another bowler from the Tuskers. Really, really exciting team, Tim. This gets you excited, surely.
It does. It really does. I love the squad. To be fair, I do like both squads. I just had a little bit of problem with the women's, as I pointed out. I love the squad. I'm very interested to see how George van Heerden, Dion Forrester, and Devon Murray get on. That's going to be very, very interesting. In those conditions, it's not going to be easy for either of them.
Yeah.
But that's going to be very interesting.
It's the Black African batters. For me, it's Silitswane, it's Mokhakane, guys who have promise, serious promise. I'm excited.
And then because of the conditions, somebody like Ndila Simalani, I think in those conditions, particularly with his bowling, could come up in real a real learning curve for him. The right place to bowl on those conditions will be a challenge, but he's also a big talent. Now, I'm very interested to see how the series goes on. I don't know what to expect in terms of the opposition, but I do know kind of what to expect in terms of the conditions. It's going to be, conditions-wise, a big challenge.
Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge conditions-wise. Okay, and then lastly, we've got an SAA squad to play. So the SA Emerging Men are going to play 2 T20s and 3 ODIs. And then now we have an SAA squad going to the West Indies to play at the Darren Sammy Stadium. I think it's in Trinidad and Tobago. No? Where's Darren Sammy from? Yeah, somewhere there. I'll get that for you. And so we've got, we've always wanted one, and we've gotten it, right? And they're going to, it's St. Lucia, sorry. Yeah, I was trying to get that. Very poor podcasting. So we've got an SAS squad going to the West Indies to play a West Indies A. Now, this feels more like these guys are knocking on the Proteas door or are trying to break in. So here we go. Marcus Ackerman is the captain of the side. He's had a really good back end of the season. So for the Dolphins, Oguhle Cele getting an opportunity as well. He's now cemented himself as the premier fast bowler at the Dolphins, with Darren de Pavillon going the other way. Ron de Swart, an all-rounder who should be given an opportunity at the top. If you're looking for all-rounders in the domestic scene, he's the first name that should come out of your mouth. Skalk Engelbrecht from the Titans as well, coming in. He had a decent season this year. Bjorn Fortuin, Jordan Herman, Tristan Lees, youngster getting an opportunity, fast bowler from the Dolphins. Really good to see there. Rivaldo Moonsami, bucket loads of runs last season. Also very important runs this season as well for him and the Titans. Tsepo Moreki, he had a great tour of New Zealand as a Protea, and they're bringing him in here as well as the next best guys. Mihlali Mpongwana, yes, these are the picks that you want to see, right? Mihlali is a really good cricketer and didn't have a great season. Western Province wasn't great this season, lots of injuries, and but Mihlali is a name. He's their star player, one of their star players. Ngabayomzi Peter from the Lions also coming in there. Luandre Pretorius, who has had a sensational start to his professional career and is probably going to continue in St. Lucia. Snetema Klashile comes back into the side. SAA, Lesejo Sinokwane, woohoo! We've been crying for this and we got it. Then Tim gets his pick, Jason Smith from the Dolphins, and Pranella Subryan coming in as well from the Dolphins in the side. They're going to play 3 ODIs, 3 one-day games, and then they're going to play 1 4-day game. So the squad covers pretty much all the bases. And so, Tim, what do you make of it? Because this is the exciting part, right? These are the guys who've done well domestically. We've been watching throughout the whole year, and they're getting their rewards. Obviously, some people are being given a little bit of faith. They haven't had the best of seasons, but, reputationally, it's carried them. But others, they've broken down the door. And Luandre is one who's done that. What do you make of this squad?
Yeah, it's a good squad. It's a good squad. It covers all bases, you say, in West Indian conditions. Very interested to see how Tristan Lewis gets on. He's always got wickets in South Africa. At times he's been expensive, but he's always got wickets. On the slower wickets, I mean, yes, Durban is slow, but West Indies is a different type of slow for fast bowlers at the moment, which is unfortunate. So I'm very interested to see how he gets on. This Rivaldo as well. Rivaldo, this is your chance. This is your chance. It's taken a bit longer than I think it should have taken him, man of his talent.
Yeah,
this is his chance to say, listen, if there's an injury or a loss of form, I'm available. I am available. Yes. I'm here. You want solidification in the middle order. You don't know when Klaasen's going to play. Miller's going to retire. This is the time for somebody like Rivaldo to absolutely take it. And the the usual suspects are also still there, but it's a good squad. I like it. I hope Marcus goes well as well. I really do. I really hope Marcus. But Marcus has been around in these squads for a long time now. I hope that he kicks on and makes a statement at all.
So too, Jason Smith, right? You want a cupboard of all rounders, just being able to pick from, because you want to be in a situation like the Proteas Women are in, where if one person goes out, the next man up, right? The thing about Australia that and to some extent England that they have it is like they're like, yeah, no, here's another guy, like how Jacob Bethel just waltzed into everything, and you're like, how? Where did he come from, right?
Yeah.
And these tours are for us to get a grip of and understand who these players are. We know who they are, but like for them to feel comfortable, understand the Protea landscape, get to feel like they're at the door, and then to a certain extent, these are the guys we expect next season to be the star performers, and that's what CSA is effectively saying to these players, right? You're a contract away. If you want to become a nationally contracted player, this is your start. This is it. And and then I like that for Sinokwane. I like the return of Tleshile. I think he's been quiet for a while, but looking forward, there's no reason why he can't, but it runs under the belt. And yes, I do know that obviously Black African batters may take a little bit longer to mature and get into their stride. And Sinetemba's been in there for quite a long time, longer than a lot of the players here. I think it may be the moment that starts his career. It will take time, but if he's incubated in the SAA setup, it'll be great. And it's also great for Shukri to meet these guys, get to know them a little bit better, and see how they perform, right? And because the thing I like about the West Indies A side is actually they're not that bad. Actually, the West Indies are in an interesting place where everyone's trying to break into the squad, and there's opportunities for them to break into the squad, into the first team, and so this A tour is also going to be a cutthroat tour for them, because guys are wanting an opportunity to play. So it's going to be quite good. And based on when they came here the last time, it was actually very competitive and very entertaining. Jaden Seals was just breaking through everyone. And so, Tristan Lees is the next of our fast bowlers. And so it's good to see. And also I like Ogukhetela because I think he doesn't have a ceiling as high as some of the guys in the setup right now, but I think he's very capable of being a seasoned international pro, and I think he's got the goods and he's got the pace. You just want to,
he's passed all the ladders. Talk about the ladders. He and the Valdo have passed all the ladders. They've had the good grounding. They know where they need to be. This is where they need to be. They need to just hold on to that mantra.
Yeah. Look, and that's the thing. I think there's another press release that's come through now. Just want to make sure if
there has,
yes,
but it's pretty much what we've just been speaking about. It's the only interesting part is the women's academy. I think there's a couple of names there that I don't recognize.
Yeah, Seshni Naidu makes it into the women's academy. Nondumiso Shangase, who's with the Proteas team, both of them actually make it in. Faye Tunnicliffe makes it in, and Kayla Reineke, the captain of the SA Under-19, makes it into the academy. And then on the men's side, Connor Esthuizen of the Lions, Mikael Prince, and Dando Zuma of the Tuskers make it into the academy. So as new names, over and above the names that are there. The women's academy is very interesting, right? Because you've got like established professional players who are actually playing, whereas the men's academy is like really like you've just had your first season.
Players.
So because like Nundu's been in the setup since like 2019, and so so look, it's what it is. Tim, I think we need to call it here. Look, games to watch out for. Proteas Women take on Sri Lanka on Wednesday, or India on Wednesday, sorry. And then they have another game on Friday. And then I think the final is on Sunday. So hopefully they can win 2 more games and maybe they'll make it in. Sri Lanka beating India makes it very interesting because if you beat India tomorrow and you beat Sri Lanka again on Friday, on Wednesday, and you beat Sri Lanka again on Friday, you could be in the final. So it's not all lost, but we'd like to see better. We're not happy with where it's going. And then congratulations to SA 19 on beating Namibia. Jason Riles and the boys there were at their very best in Windhoek, and they did really well, Tim.
Yeah, it's a bit one-sided, if we're honest, but it's good that they got the performances out there and they performed. The top guys that performed at the highest level. Good win. A win 3-0, and they won very convincingly in the series. But it's good. It's good. It's again more players coming through the system. The more players we get coming through the system, the better.
Yeah, no, most definitely. The more players we get coming through the system, the better. And yeah, look, I think that's a good way for us to stop. Remember, please follow us at Full Quarter Pod on X. Subscribe to the Full Quarter YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube now and you love the content, like, subscribe, share us widely, and engage with us. Send us through your comments. We like answering the comments as well as you go through. So let us know what you think and everything else. On the audio, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please do support us there. And then lastly, please do buy some coffee. It really, really helps us do this. We're not doing this for the love of cricket alone. We love cricket a lot, but we do this also to keep the lights going and the wheels going in our respective worlds. But yeah, outside of that, thank you very much for joining us. We really do appreciate the support from myself and Tim. It's goodbye and lesale. Kagiso.